Michael Grant had always been the rock of his family, a man full of laughter, strength, boundless energy, the kind of father who never missed a school recital, the kind of husband who left little notes for his wife, Sarah, on the kitchen counter. But now he lay silent, a mere shadow of the man he once was. Machines did the work his body could no longer do. Beep, beep, beep. The monitors filled the room, a cruel reminder of the fragile thread he was hanging by. It had been 5 months since the stroke stole him away. 5 months of whispered prayers, sleepless nights, waiting for a miracle that seemed less likely with each passing day. Sarah sat beside him every evening, holding his hand, talking to him, telling him about her day, about their daughter, Emily, about the world he had left behind. She read him the news, played his favorite songs, even recounted old memories, hoping that something, anything, would reach him. But there was nothing. No flicker of recognition, no twitch of his fingers, nothing to tell her he was still there. Then came the verdict, the one she had feared but never wanted to hear. There's no brain activity. Dr. Evelyn Carter's voice was gentle but firm. We've done everything we can. It's time to start considering end-of-life decisions. Sarah didn't respond. She couldn't. The words hung in the air, heavy, suffocating. She knew this moment was coming. But how do you say goodbye to the love of your life? How do you tell your daughter that her father will never wake up? She looked at Michael's face, so still, his warm hands now cold, his eyes closed. Sarah swallowed back the tears burning in her throat. She leaned in close and whispered, "One more day, just one more." That night, as she sat in the darkened hospital room, an idea formed. Bailey, their golden retriever. For 10 years he had been Michael's shadow, from early morning jogs to lazy Sunday naps. When Michael got sick, Bailey had spent weeks lying by the front door, waiting, hoping, maybe, just maybe, seeing Bailey one last time would bring Michael some peace. The next morning, Sarah made the call. The hospital had strict rules, but after pleading with Dr. Carter and Nurse Daniel Reed, they agreed. "Just a few minutes," Dr. Carter warned. "Dogs can sense things we can't. But don't get your hopes up." Sarah didn't expect a miracle. She just wanted Michael to have something familiar. When she brought Bailey into the hospital room, the dog's tail wagged hesitantly. He sniffed the air, as if searching for his best friend. Then he saw Michael. Bailey froze. His ears flattened, his body stiffened. Slowly, cautiously, he approached the bed. His big brown eyes locked onto Michael's still face. Sarah knelt beside him, stroking his fur. "Go on, Bailey. Say goodbye." But Bailey didn't move. He stood there, staring, his breath slow, steady. Then, with careful precision, he placed his head on Michael's chest, and he waited. Minutes passed. The doctors exchanged glances. Nurse Reed checked the monitors. Nothing changed. "It's time," Dr. Carter finally said, signaling the nurse. Sarah wiped her eyes. She reached for Bailey's collar, but the moment she did, Bailey twitched. His ears shot up, his entire body tensed, as if he had been struck by lightning. Then he barked, a sharp, desperate sound. Everyone in the room jumped. "Bailey, no!" Bark, bark. Bailey pressed his nose against Michael's face, whining, pawing at him, begging him to wake up, and then beep, beep, beep. The heart monitor spiked. Nurse Reed's eyes widened. "His blood pressure is rising." Dr. Carter rushed forward. "That's impossible." Bailey let out a soft whimper. His eyes locked onto Michael's face. Then Michael took a breath. A real, deep, conscious breath. Sarah gasped. Michael's fingers twitched. His head shifted ever so slightly. The doctors rushed around him, checking the monitors, whispering in disbelief. Then, after months of silence, a sound broke through the noise of the machines, a groan. It was barely a whisper, but to Sarah, it was everything. "Michael?" she choked out, gripping his hand. "Michael, can you hear me?" The room fell silent, and then, slowly, painfully, Michael's eyelids fluttered open, his gaze unfocused, his lips dry, cracked. But when his eyes found Sarah's face, something in them changed. Recognition. Sarah sobbed. "Oh my God! Michael!" Michael's voice was weak, hoarse, but the words were clear. "Bailey?" The golden retriever let out a soft, joyful whimper and licked Michael's hand. His tail thumped wildly against the hospital bed. Some call it instinct. Some call it science. But others, they call it a miracle. If this story touched your heart, show Bailey some love by liking this video, leaving a comment, and subscribing. Because sometimes, the smallest heroes have the biggest hearts. Thank you for watching.